Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, October 26, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The Venice Commission, the institution that advised Albanian politicians in details for drafting the constitutional changes, will again give advice concerning the vetting law. After the adoption in July, the constitutional judicial reform draft was legitimated and praised. However, the law was suspended by the Constitutional Court, which will again ask for the Venice Commission's advice on the law. The president of the Venice Commission, Gianni Bucchicchio, had declared that the judicial reform is a delicate process, especially member selection for constitutional institutions. And it is exactly this mechanism that is creating a stalemate in the law, which reevaluates judges and prosecutors. The Democratic Party is rejecting the way the law determines procedures for selecting members into the vetting committee who are not already part of the justice system. Earlier this year, the president of the Venice Commission had declared his willingness to continue cooperative assistance for the reform in the future. He had also warned of the difficulty Albanian politicians would face during the process, especially regarding the vetting law, which is considered to be the key point in creating the new justice institutions. Now we should think of the coming steps, such as the development and implementation of the legislation. Both parties have a lot to say. I think that the legislation will be drafted in an atmosphere and rationality and of responsible dialogue, Bucchicchio declared. When last in Tirana, the prominent EU official declared that implementing the judicial reform was now in the hands of Albania's politicians and citizens. But now, as this fundamental law for implementing the reform has been suspended, Bucchicchio will have to advise our country again. However, this time he will not advise the politicians, but the Constitutional Court, which is the institution that guarantees the implementation of the Constitution. The Venice Commission's conclusions will have decisive effects on the law's draft and subsequent implementation of the law, which will assess judges and prosecutors. The Democratic Party parliamentary group is reviewing any form of rejection for the majority, from popular protest to parliamentary boycott, because the party claims the Albanian parliament has been delegitimatized. The DP chairman believes the prime minister and the government have transformed the country into a narco-trafficking republic. We are discussing with our parliamentary group, with our allies, with civil society, with citizens, with all, to reject this narco-trafficking regime, declared the DP chairman after the Democratic parliamentary group meeting. Mr. Basha also commented on the Constitutional Court's decision to suspend the vetting law, declaring that this decision has stopped the Prime Minister from having control over the justice system. When asked about the Minister of Justice's statement, in which he declared that the military should be engaged in the fight against cannabis, the DP chairman said that this proves the opposition's concerns and added that whoever is silent is either indifferent or corrupt. 3 candidates are running for chairman position in the Socialist Movement for Integration. They each presented their platforms before Tirana's party structures. The current SMI chairman, Mr. Ilir Meta, who is running for another mandate, gave a speech where he declared that we should be guided by our desire to enhance the hope for a better future in Albania. The Socialist Movement for Integration should have only one ideology, which is public interest, and should have only one ally, which is transparency with the citizens. In every decision we make, we should be guided by desire to increase hope for a better future in Albania, so that the youth stay in Albania. This is our duty, and I will serve this duty with the greatest dedication for the next 4 years, declared Mr. Meta. Meanwhile, another candidate, Shazai Rokai, emphasized that the Socialist Movement for Integration has accepted alliances that are against its nature, only for the sake of the country's stability. We have been the political force which, for the sake of stability in the country, has accepted alliances against our nature, because we have placed the citizens' interests above our political interests. But these alliances should be based on loyalty and credibility, because if these factors lack in a governing partnership, then there will be problems regarding the way we govern, he said. The third candidate, Mr. Spahiu, declared, "We say that the country can be improved, and for this reason, we should all serve the big solutions the country needs by taking on leadership responsibilities. This is the time for the socialist movement for integration to increase and have a principal role in Albanian politics and society." Prime Minister Edi Rama declared today during the meeting of the National Economic Council that the state economy was badly administered by the former government, which had rejected European Union laws. According to the Prime Minister, the policies of the economic aid the state gives to private enterprises has completely changed and are now completely transparent. The Prime Minister spoke of an improved business climate, saying the value of economic aid in Albania between 2007 and 2012 was 613 million euro. The Albanian state used that money in open violation of European Union legislation. For the first time, we have created a mechanism that closely connects the state's economic aid with employment, helping those sectors that guarantee more employment to the Albanian people. Under the new changes made this year to the state aid law, the Competition Authority, a state institution which reviews laws for fair competition, should review all applications. The Competition Authority now has the authority to prevent cases when aid violates competition rules or cases when a business receives more economic aid than what it warrants, declared the Prime Minister, adding that the new policies for economic aid will support the most productive sectors of economy, those which generate greater employment. Tirana's mayor announced today that the separation of recyclable and non-recyclable waste will start in November. The mayor inaugurated a newly reconstructed kindergarten in Tirana, where he kicked off an informing process with the children, explaining to them how to keep the environment clean. The mayor spoke to the children, saying, "Starting in November, we will set up 2 containers, a green one for plastic, paper, glass, and metal waste, and a blue container for the other waste. We want you to help us and tell your parents that the recyclable waste should be put in the green container, and all other waste goes in the blue containers." Speaking from Kindergarten 20, where the completed reconstruction was inaugurated, the mayor said that the standards for kindergartens are completely different thanks to the citizens who pay taxes. All of Tirana's kindergartens will have the same standards level with this kindergarten we are inaugurating. I want to thank parents because thanks to their contribution by paying taxes and company contributions, we have this kindergarten today, which is a model in Tirana, commended the mayor. The Minister of Education, who was accompanying the mayor, declared that the kindergarten is an example of how things can become a reality when we work with passion. On October 24th, 2016, in Mexico City, the American ambassador of the Republic of Albania, Ms. Floreta Faber, presented Senor Enrique Peña Nieto, the President of the United Mexican States, with honoring credentials. Ms. Faber, residing in Washington, D.C., is also serving as a non-resident ambassador to Mexico. The accreditation ceremony for 20 ambassadors, residents and non-residents of Mexico, was held at the National Palace in Mexico City. After honoring the Mexican national anthem, played by the Mexican National Band, each national anthem for the accredited countries were also played, including Albania's national anthem. During the credential presentation ceremony, Ambassador Faber, accompanied by her husband Edmund, had a warm conversation with President Peña Nieto and Secretary of Foreign Relations, Ms. Claudia Ruiz Massó. After the ceremony, Ambassador Faber held a press conference emphasizing that Albania and Mexico should reinforce and further develop their friendly relations and many areas of common interest. An important step in our relations will be to facilitate an agreement on visa-free procedures for Albanian citizens and goods. The Albania-Mexico Business Forum, organized by the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in collaboration with the Honorary Consul of Mexico, Yuli Droci, in May of 2013, was a good opportunity to explore paths of economic cooperation. We are working to hold another forum in February 2017. Renewable energy and tourism are some of the possible areas that can arouse interest among Mexican investors, she said. Ambassador Faber also encouraged the recognition of Kosovo, asserting that supporting the consolidation of the new state increases security in the Western Balkans region. During her visit to Mexico City, Ambassador Faber held a meeting with the Foreign Vice Minister of Mexico, Mr. Carlos de Icaza. During the meeting, bilateral relations between the two countries were discussed, along with ways to deepen these relations. Particular focus was paid to the possibility of increasing economic exchanges between the two countries. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.